Hi, this is Justin with theactionreport.com. We're here for TAR Podcast 10. I'm joined by Mr. Mark Griffin, CEO of Q Sports International. We'd like to welcome everybody here to a Friday night edition of the TAR Podcast. And the reason we did it on Friday is one of us was at Derby
Playing
yesterday.
games, not pool, games.
So you were out there for what, 3 days?
3 days.
What's the word? What did it look like?
Well, the first thing that was amazing, I didn't see one drop of snow. I've been there at times where you couldn't even walk. I didn't see any snow, nowhere. Stone cold, dry pavement. 50 degrees. It wasn't the Derby City, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Same, the usual suspects. The head counts were, I might be off one or two, but it was the Banks, which is always the largest, 404 players. One pocket, 317, give or take, and the 9-ball, about 294. Many times the 9-ball has more than the one pocket, so that was a little unusual twist, but some great play, some stand-up play. Mm-hmm. Joey Gray showed a few people.
Yeah, Joey's a great player.
Oh, yeah, he came in second, I believe, in the one pocket. I left before that was all done. Shane is just tearing them up. Brandon Schuff did real well. John Mora, and also
John Mora winning the Banks. That was, I got to say, that's not, if you were going to pick,
you wouldn't have picked him.
20 guys, he probably wouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
But, his form and technique is so pure.
He was dialed in. Everybody was saying, he says, he's like in the zone all week type of thing.
Yeah, John can play with anybody.
He's getting better.
Yeah.
He's getting more solid.
I know I forget sometimes how young he is.
22.
Yeah. Well, and he played, I think, our fourth match maybe for TAR when he played Justin Bergman way back when.
Yeah,
at Shooters.
The Shooters. I know it was on the other side of the country, but
and that was in 2008, I guess. So, yeah, man, almost 4 years. Wow. So he's
coming of age,
right?
And he showed he stayed real disciplined. Mm-hmm. The game took a lot of twists. That's the one game where Shane he actually called a 4-railer, and then he shot it for 2 rails, and it was really a weird deal. Bottom line is it went in the wrong pocket that he physically called, and kind of got spaced out, and he was thinking he called it the 2 rails, and he moved the balls. The end result is he forfeited that game, so John Mora had him 2-zip, when actually it would have been 1-1. He didn't hit it hard enough to go 4 rails. I don't think Shane cheated anybody or even tried to. I think he actually, in his mind, went 2 rails and just forgot to tell everybody else. That's really what I think happened. But
yeah, I didn't see
it happens.
So.
I know, and you get brain dead after a while.
Yeah, I don't see Shane trying to pull any kind of moves. It's
especially not on
you just forget.
TV.
No, I just
he's not built that way.
I've never seen him do it. I'm not saying he's incapable of it. I'm just saying I've seen him watch a hell of a lot of pool over a lot of years.
Yeah,
I've never seen him do it. So. What else we got? So what was the turnout like? It was good out there, right?
Yeah, it was respectable. For all the no buzz on the internet and everything else, everybody figured. I thought it was going to be a real flat year. It wasn't. Mm-hmm. Their computer system, it functioned properly. I still think it needs some help, but that's neither here nor there. They started They started the banked finals within 8 minutes of what they projected 3 days early.
Oh, wow.
Or 2 days early. They really had Rick Jones is running it from Bad Boys and his crew, and Bill Stock from my office. And
Rick will be in Reno, right?
Yes, sir. And so, all in all, it was a successful one. The casino, they need some lessons on how to keep pool players happy. They keep closing down the restaurants.
Yeah.
You can't do that, And,
was there anything open 24 hours?
The bar with bananas. I don't even know if it was open 24. I didn't stay up past 3.
Yeah.
But the little snack bar outside the main room.
Oh, yeah.
They closed it it doesn't open until 9 o'clock at night.
Really?
All day long. What do? You got to eat the buffet?
Oh, okay. So they don't even have it open during the day.
No. It was just a little bizarre. But I know how big companies are sometimes, and unfortunately the food manager's not talking to the convention center manager.
Right. Well, it could be worse. It could be like the year where they got snowed in and started running out of crap.
Oh, they ran out of everything.
Ran out of beer, ran out of food.
That's a no-no.
Yeah.
But anyhow, it was a good event. I was not there till 3 or 4 days into it, and Diamond has made a few announcements. They're doing the Tunica, Mississippi. And
Now, that's going to be that's going to have bar tables in it, right?
They're saying 80 bar tables, and I'm not sure how many 9-footers. I'm going to price 24 or 32.
So what will the tournament structure be? Will it be like Derby on bar tables?
No, it'll be Derby with a bunch of amateurs. The Derby will be played on the 9-foot tables. Then the amateurs, the APA will have a presence, the BCA will have a presence, and in between the 2 weekends, it'll be a, if you can show up, you can play type of thing.
Okay.
It's similar to what we used to do over at the Executive Inn, which when it was over by the Executive West.
Right.
So that'll help things a lot, and that is July 20th through 28th. Real easy to remember, it's the same dates that January was. Mm-hmm. That's only for this year. In 2013, it's going to move to May because my BCA pool tournament nationals is going to move from May to July. So you have to, don't let the May-July confusion get to anybody. And then we're negotiating on one more location for Caesars, but a lot of it depends on how the Tunica situation does. The other one's on the East Coast, it'll work out real well for everybody. But I mean, all in all, it was a good derby. There was, I felt the action was down a little bit, the side action. There was some good stuff, but it was just a, but then I wasn't up all night, because I was taking care of too many other things.
I mean, well, I guess now that, there's, I don't know. I'm just, how many 9-day events do we need?
Well, there's some debate on that, and some people were asking. There was a post on AZ, I think, and everybody agrees 2, 3 might get too much. One of Greg's ideas, and whether we agree or disagree, is to do several of these Derby City style things and convert one event, whether it be the Fat Boy Challenge or another challenge, and turn it into a pro event. So each one has a, quote, pro event. Mm-hmm. I put it in quotes because I don't even know what a pro event is anymore.
Right.
Yeah. Who the hell's a pro player? But
well, I think that what they've got going at the Derby with the 16-man field. What was the entry this year? 500 or 1,000? 1,000, which should be at least 1,000.
With 10,000 added, I believe. So first place was 12,000. Second was like 7 and 35.
That's strong.
Yeah.
If you could do those, one every 3 to 5 weeks. Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're doing it in conjunction with a big monster production, like we've talked about, is doing it standalone.
Right. Well, all you need is 4 pool tables.
Correct.
And a space.
Correct.
And
so.
That's something, I really think that's the future of pro pool. But it's going to be a matter of who can draw and if people will watch. And if not, I think you're going to see it go 100% in the tank.
Well, we're halfway there now, but I mean, I really am optimistic in some respects about pool. And something we discussed last week, but since there was a corrupted file or something, but anyhow, we didn't end up with getting a recordable TAR 9 that could go out on the internet. Mm-hmm. But one of the topics we discussed was that the BCA came up with a program where different businesses could add give them $1,000 that they would use to provide transportation for the BCA points winners. So that kind of goes hand in hand with some of these, TAR, or Diamond and Us or whatever, trying to put together pro tours. Because I even had an interesting discussion with Nels on the escalator going from the hotel to the Derby, and he says, yeah, you Americans, you never go to the world tournaments, which is what we've been saying.
Well, it doesn't
if you don't play the best, you can't be the best.
Well, on the flip side of that, it's kind of easy for some of the Europeans to say, world tournaments this, world tournaments that. They got federations footing the bill.
Yes, they do.
And the other side is, for Americans, they're running it as a business. So if you're sitting there and you're going, okay, well, it's going to cost me $3,000 to go to this thing.
Oh yeah.
If I win, I get 15 to 20,000.
Yeah, usually it's over 20. But this World 8 Ball that's going on during our bar table, they changed it. No, it's 20.
Is it 20? Oh, it's 20 and 15 for third. That's what it was.
Now they did.
Or for second. Because that was weird. There was only $5,000 difference between first and second.
It was a 64-man field, but then I understand they opened it to 96, kind of without telling anybody. I'm not sure what the purpose is there. Brandon Schuff is going, and I'd like to toot his horn because we're responsible for him being there because he won our National Championship Series 8-ball thing. That was the year that it was canceled, and Ian Anderson from the WPA honored it. And so he's going, and Hunter Lombardo. And you got to take your hat off to Hunter because he's out there, and he's starting to move up the ranks a little bit.
Yeah.
So more power to him. But the BCA, congratulations. I don't think they're going to get quite the participation they're hoping, but I know that at last I heard it was Tweeton, Simona's, AZ Billiards, and me, CSI Sports,
Yeah.
actually contributed $1,000 to help the professional players. And I'm going to say one thing, and I hope some professional players listen to this. Call up the BCA and say thank you. Somebody.
Yeah. Not
come
you,
on.
not the BCAPL, but
No.
the BCA, Billiard Congress of America.
Well, come on.
Right.
Where's the ABP when we need them?
Right. Where's the press
on.
release that says thanks BCA for getting us
Yeah.
$4,000 for travel
Yeah,
expenses?
I haven't heard a fart yet.
You won't.
It's brutal.
Yeah,
I mean, it
you
really
won't.
is. It's very disappointing. Just common decency.
Yeah.
And that's not pointed at any one person.
And that was one thing in the podcast we lost that I do want to touch on, and it has to do with the ABP, and it was a conversation we had with Francisco Bustamante when he was here.
Oh, yes.
And that's the fact that we told him, hey, did you know your name was on the list to boycott the U.S. Open and that you're listed as an ABP member, both you and Efren? And he said, no, I never signed anything, never said anything. And so Sonny was there and had an iPad, pulled it up and showed it to him, and he goes,
I know. Isn't it great to be
and the other thing is, it's just, those press releases that the ABP are putting out, and I've got my suspicions, and I've had people tell me who's doing it. But as of yet, no member that I've talked to has said, oh, yeah, I knew that was going on. To a man, every one of them said, I have no idea what press release are you talking about. I haven't heard about that. Nobody asked me about that. So basically what it is, I've got a lot of friends that are players that are listed as part of that organization, and it just pisses me off to see
their
a lot of
being used as a hammer.
Right,
And, they have no
and
idea.
the other thing is, a lot of people, a lot of fans, this shit's hanging on by a thread right now. And one of the things, pro pool in America, and one of the things that keeps it supported is, fans that go to Derby, fans that come to Vegas, people, even if some of the players don't understand it, without that support, without at least the level of support there is now, people are just going to stop doing it. I mean, if Barry Berman can't get a gate, he can't do his tournament.
That's right.
I mean, and it's the same thing. The only people really, if people start saying, I don't really want to watch those guys after hearing all that stuff, and they don't come to your gate at the U.S. Open 10 ball, you're not just going to burn money,
No. And for us, the U.S. Open 10 ball in one pocket is break even at best. Well, you're there. You've seen it.
So that's what I mean.
Break
is that
even at best.
when you've got one guy or two guys, or if it's Charlie by himself, or if it's somebody that works for him, or whoever's releasing these dumbass press releases, I mean,
stop it.
They're really doing a disservice to a lot of good guys who want nothing more than to go out there and play the game, be the best they can be, and try to make a living at pool. And when you alienate the people who support the game, not just by voice but by action, by going out and paying and going to events, the asses in the seats, because that's all that matters. It's the bottom line. When those people start saying, you know what, I'm not going to support these people with that attitude,
I totally agree.
Then
you're
done.
The customer is
it's
always
over.
right, and people got to remember the customer is the fans.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you just have to, all you got to do is just not piss people off, and it's just. It really, really pisses me off. I mean, when I start reading that stuff and I start looking at those names, and then I go talk to somebody, and it's like, a couple of conversations, I was like, what are you doing? What are you talking about, man? Well, that dumbass press release.
And they're.
What are you talking about,
their
man?
eyes get glazy, like not me.
Oh, I didn't sign on to that. I don't know what you're talking about. And it's just, and what really sucks is it makes it harder. The players need some sort of organization.
They do.
Whether it's run by them or whatever the hell it is, but they need something to where they can go out to where a promoter can come to them and say, look, I want to do an event, and it's worth it for me to play the way you guys want to play within reason, as long as the rules match up for major sanctioning bodies like the WPA and the BCA. And you know, if you can secure dates, it's absolutely worth.
Yeah.
You know, doing, you know, what it. I don't care if it's a sanctioning fee of a couple $1,000s or something like that. If that's what it is, but it guarantees dates and it guarantees the players in that organization can't play in anything else unless they face a sanction, then, you know,
Well, it's
there's value there. But this shit they got now, man, it's just,
it's pretty crazy.
It's annoying.
Well, they just put out one here a week or 10 days ago. It was right before our last podcast. I mean, it's in one ear and out the other because it doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
It's a blah, 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 you know, gone. No response, no questions, no answer. Just, I mean, it's like air. So I don't know.
And that's kind of what's funny is like a lot of the players that I've talked to, it's no big deal to them. They don't know, they don't read the stuff. They don't care about it. They can't understand why anybody else cares about it.
Well, and that's because they're not in reality.
You know, I mean, it's like they're like, well, I didn't sign up for that, so why do I care?
Why do I
what?
care? Yeah. It's
Well,
your profession, but your name's on it.
on it. Oh well, nobody reads that shit anyway.
Yeah.
You know, and it's there's a disconnect there, and it's maybe they're right. You know, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe just the 50 people that read it on the internet and get pissed off.
No,
but I think it goes deeper than that.
I think it goes deeper than that, and there are a lot of worthwhile fans and worthwhile players, but you know they just have to communicate better, and they have to treat each other better. But you have to command that respect, and right now the players aren't.
Well, some of them do.
Mistreating. Well,
I mean,
but as a group, they're not. This ABP thing. I don't want to beat the ABP. I'm you know, they.
Well, no, the
they don't
ABP
even-
is, in my opinion, has jumped the shark to the point of being beyond useless and become detrimental.
Yeah.
But at least in its present form. But you know, the players, you know, you go down the list, and for the most part, every one of those guys, you know, you talk to them, say, hey, what about this, this, and this? What do you think about that? And they're you know, they're easy to talk to. They're easy to deal with. And, you know, the one big disconnect, and it seems like an older generation of player is, and I hear the line should a lot. Well, we should make XYZ amount of money.
Oh well.
And you know, tournaments should pay more. And it's kind of, it comes back down to the bottom line of, you know, well,
You have to help us.
I mean, it's about the draw. And I've always kind of felt like, well, you know, if I was running a player organization, I'd say, look, okay, here's what we're going to do. We think we've got drawing power. We're going to do our own events. We're going to go buy or borrow some tables, and then, you know, we're going to make phone calls, and if we got to go to pool rooms, and we're going to have 10 or 8 or 16 guys, and we're going to, you know, put up flyers and do it just like everybody else does it, because ain't nobody in pool got $1 billion advertising budget. You know, I mean, Facebook and AZ Billiards will get you as far as anybody in the United States gets anyway. But then you say, look, here's what we're going to do. We're going to charge $10 or $20 a session, and whatever we draw is our prize fund.
Yeah.
And we're not paying no promoters. We're not paying nobody else. But now, guess what? You may go somewhere and not make any money at all, even the guy who wins. And the other thing is, now you've got a whole shit ton of work you got to do.
Yeah, it's a lot harder job to do because it's tough.
Yeah, but at the same time, guess what? You want to play by your own rules. You know, you want to do everything the way you want to do. You want to play on 4-inch pockets. You can do all that shit.
That's true. 4-inch pockets. That's
Yeah.
yeah. The bright side is, I mean, you know, there's a downside to everything. But last year we had 11 BCA points events. This year we have 5 now because when we were talking, it was 4 events: Turning Stone twice, Barry Berman's U.S. Open 9-ball, and CSI's U.S. Open 10-ball. The Allen Hopkins Players Championship is now a points event because they will be playing by BCA rules. That was in doubt last time we talked.
So that makes it the 5th points event.
Fifth one, which still is pretty weak. You know, I guess really what needs to happen is a lot of the major players need to sit down and talk. I mean, I'll talk with anybody. I may not listen, but you know, it's frustrating. I mean, a lot of people say, well, you got to do this, this, and this, but they've never tried doing it. And you can sit there and be logical till you're blue in the face, and just like you said, but we should get paid this, or we got to get paid that. I says, well, help me, help me, you know. I mean, I've talked to several players about supporting some of the things I'm doing, and you know, it just doesn't work that way. be that as it may, we keep trucking along. I know that we had a very nice TAR 24.
Yeah, that was great.
That was a great event between Boosty and Shane.
And it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed.
You guys missed the show the first day.
Yeah.
Hill.
Yeah.
24-24. 20, it was 24-24. It ended up 25-24.
Yeah.
Boosty wins the first day, and Shane. It's just 10 days ago. I hardly remember it.
25-19.
25-19, and then Boosty gets
Steam
tracking
rosing.
shoes on. Yeah, at one time he was shooting a 941 through about halfway through the set on 4 1/8 inch pockets. That's just unbelievable.
Yeah, no, he played great,
Yeah.
and Shane's break couldn't work, so
He
didn't get it working, so
it also didn't work at Derby very well.
Really?
He was struggling with his break. So maybe things have changed. Who knows?
Did he gamble with anybody out there?
Not that I saw. He was in tournament mode.
Well, good for him.
Yeah, and he's doing quite well. He won the he won the Derby City One Pocket 2 years in a row.
That's strong.
Yeah, and he
That's
came in
crazy.
second in Banks. That's strong.
That's the strongest one pocket field in the world.
Yeah, short races, but still the strongest one pocket field.
Yeah.
And then he's still alive in the 9-ball. There's 54 players, last I checked, in the 9-ball out of the 290-something. And John Moore is still in, Efren Reyes is still in, and Shane's still in, plus 51 others. But those guys are kind of in the running. Brandon Schuff is out of the 9-ball, so he's out of the running. Because he did well in the Banks and did well in the one pocket.
Well, it's good to see Brandon. I mean,
he's
Brandon likes the all-around stuff, too, and he's been pretty vocal on Facebook about saying he thinks there should be more things played like that. I'd like to get some more all-around stuff here on TAR,
Yeah.
So.
Well, there was some discussion at the Hall of Fame dinner, which is really a treat. I mean, you had Buddy Hall, who actually showed up. He's has a hard time getting around, and Grady looked great. Believe it or not, Grady Matthews has been fighting some lung cancer, and he got up and spoke for a couple minutes. But Buddy Hall and Nick Varner were inducted to the One Pocket Hall of Fame. It was a good turnout, and we sat at the same table with Efren and Mike LeBron and a couple other people, and Brooke was there, and she does a lot of their, I guess, managing or whatever you want to call it.
I wouldn't call it that.
Yeah, but well, they're buddies and everything, and
Yeah.
they were talking about Shane and Boosty. This is following up on the discussion we had here at the studio. I'm doing an all around, like an 8-ball, 10-ball in one pocket. Could have been 8-ball, 9-ball in one pocket. I don't remember between the 9 and the 10, but that would be a fun one to watch.
Yeah, if we can put it
And they're
together,
talking-
that'd be a
they're
great
talking
match.
the week before our May event, and so it'd be like early May.
Yeah.
Then we have an all-around tied in conjunction with our U.S. Bar Table Championship, which is filling up quite nicely, and that's February 13th through 19th. The Jay Swanson Memorial, for all practical purposes, is basically full up. We're at 160, and we still taking mail-in till Tuesday, and then what's left over we'll just open up. So that's, you talk about a strong field. Bull Runningen, let me see if I remember, Efren, Boosty, Jose, Santos, Rodney Morris, Bo Runningen, I think Jesse Engels, Louis Ulrich, Joshua. I mean, holy mackerel.
Are Bo and Jesse going to Reno? Are they signed up for Reno?
Yes.
Great.
The Reno's going to be a pretty cool little tournament.
Oh, great. Yeah.
And we have the big tables. We have, and I want to be public, and because we've been talking like we're going to have 16 9-footers. We're only going to have 12. We thought we had a few more, and it just doesn't warrant the $5,000 to bring 4 more tables out. But 12's fine.
12's plenty.
Yeah, well, it's because we're doing 9-foot events in the evenings after the bar
12's.
table.
Well, what do you run the U.S. Open 10-ball on?
8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And if you want to reserve rooms at the Grand Sierra, it's 39 and 49, which is super cheap because this is a nice joint. And the code is POOL12. We talked briefly about bonus ball. That's what we're going to do today, is talk briefly about bonus ball. I haven't heard not one more thing.
I just saw
$64
some things on Facebook for the first time. It was, I think, with Barry Bremer, is that his name?
That's his name. Yeah.
Talking about coming soon and something about Las Vegas and Atlanta team and a team in Las Vegas. And
He's going to move. He's moving here, is what he told me. I've never met him, but he's sent me a couple things on Facebook.
So
too.
it's, evidently something's still going on, but it's, I don't know. I got to, from a personal standpoint, I'm just, it's like the gorilla in the room. What are they going to do?
Well,
because, from TAR's point of view, they could, they're talking about streaming these guys for what, 5 months, 4 days a week, 4 days a week for 5 months.
Well, but that's the strength of their system. It's also the weakness of their system. I mean, it's just not affordable. If that's the part of their income stream, they can't make the financial commitment. That, I mean, I always admire people.
My thing is, if they come in, one line in a contract puts us out of business for 6 months.
Yeah,
if they come in and say, well, you guys, in order to make this 1,000 a week or whatever, you can't appear on other people's streams.
Yeah.
Then
you and I'll play
something. I mean, I don't know. Have to figure out something to do.
Oh, we would. Yeah.
But so I'm concerned about that, and nobody's come out and said. And you actually talked, didn't you? Kind of hint around about that to. Was it Shaborik or was it Archer?
I talked to Archer on the phone once, and I talked to Larry, and it's real hard to get a fixed answer on anything. I really don't think they have the answers. And I'm glad to see people try things, but I've kind of been down a lot of these roads, and if what I've heard, and I'm saying this big, if what I have heard is what they're planning on doing, they ain't got a prayer.
No, I did the numbers, and if you got 32 players, and they're paying $1,000 a week for each player that plays, and what was it? 8 teams of 4, with 2 alternates on each team, and 4 people play.
So it's 48 people tied up, but
32 a week play and get paid. So your nut right there is $32,000 a week just for the players. That doesn't count your building. That doesn't count just expenses that go with the building. It doesn't count your streaming expenses.
Airfare to get the players here.
I'm sure they're making them come here for that kind of money. But even then, I mean, if you rent equipment, or and the other thing is, if you're going to be streaming 4 days a week, you're not paying people by the hour. You're hiring crew, employees. Unless you just really want to burn out money. So,
well,
I could real easily see a nut of 45 to 50 grand a week.
Oh, I see it higher now.
Yeah.
Because they were going to build a studio that would hold a bunch of people.
Well, that's true too.
Now you're blowing. At one time it was $1 million studio.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, so you're looking at $250,000 a month. By the time, probably, because it always costs more than whatever the hell you think it's going to cost. Yeah. So just say it's $200,000 a month.
Well,
there ain't nothing in pool makes 200 grand a month.
Yeah.
Nothing.
They're not.
APA maybe, but when you got 60,000 people playing.
Yeah, they're not. They're not. About
that's insane, dude.
The way it was described to me, they're nuts. $2 million. It can't be done with their income stream. But that's their business. I mean, if it's good for pool, I'd be glad. And I don't think, and if they really want to do what's good for pool, they're not going to put these one-liners and put everybody else out of business.
Well,
that's good for pool.
Well, that's the thing is, and
have to trust them a little bit.
I was actually reading about the game, and a lot of the things in the game are interesting. I like the idea of a time clock. I like the idea of the scoreboard. It's an interesting. Certain aspects of it I like, but when it's like looking through it. It's almost like they don't even have a handle on exactly what the hell it is. At least that's the feeling I get, or that like it's still in development. You know what I mean? And
I think you're probably right, but and I totally agree, because if if ever do a pro tour, there will be a time clock, and there will be. Well, we've had these discussions.
And the thing of it is, I'm getting to the point now to where it's kind of like. If it comes down to this, to where, is this what pool is now? I mean, like every few years somebody comes along with a little bit of money and screw everybody who's been here for a few years. We're all jumping on board with this guy. Right. Yeah. And we're all trying to make a little payday. And that's what, I'm not saying that's what they're going to do, because I don't know what they're going to do.
Well, it would be nice if they were to communicate. And perhaps they don't have anything to communicate. So I'm just... Give them the benefit of time. But remember, they were supposed to be doing this in March.
Right.
That was the original plan. So this industry is so small, and people should understand. If I was to announce a super big tournament in October 1st, Well, most people would be dancing around those days. And then if I just don't communicate and I just don't do it, somebody may have really wanted to do an event those days
Right.
and says, well, I'm not going to do anything because that guy's going to do something.
Right.
There needs to be a clearing calendar. There needs to be a $1,000 fee to lock up dates that's forfeited. There's some of these things, just common sense. And the bonus ball right now is breaking several of those rules. They're not telling the industry what they're doing. They put all this stuff out and they just stop. Not good. Not fair to the people in the industry.
No. Well, and that's the thing is, and
maybe they're listening. Well, I know they listen. So,
but
Barry, listen.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of where I'm at. Is it's like, at the same time, I've never called up the guys and asked. Maybe I should. Maybe that's the answer. I mean, I kind of, because you've talked to them, and I always kind of figured that was.
Well, we keep thinking we're going to hear something because they're supposed to be open in 6 weeks.
But it's like, so I mean, it's not all on them, especially for that, and and at the same time, this is why I'm worried, because if I was going to put that kind of money into a project, you can bet your ass those guys would be locked up.
Yeah.
Because how can you not? How can you not?
Well,
you're talking about millions of dollars.
I would halfway agree with you. There would be kind of some lockup terminology, but there would be a whole lot of freedom they could do. They could definitely participate in non-competing events and all kinds of stuff. So
I don't know. I mean, it's like, I just you look at everything else. You look at boxing. You look at UFC. You look at, things like that, and it's just, how do you? I don't know. But to me, is if with that kind of money at stake, how do you not?
Well, we'll just have to see what they do. Since we did lose last week's, I saw another thread or two on AZ Billiards. Who won the cue sticks? I know that Kevin Miller out of Washington, Oregon, won.
And I'm actually, I still got to get with OB. We kind of played tag a little bit this week, and I got to get an address for them because I've got the cue. They already sent out the break cue from them in Pennsylvania. So, and I've got the playing cue as well as a really nice signed. I did like an 8x11 photo.
Oh, that's right, a certificate of authenticity signed by.
Francisco and Shane.
Yeah, it's a cool little package.
Yeah, it's a neat thing.
And we really appreciate OB jumping up and helping us out. They have off and on for years, and they make a good product. It's an American product, and are really trying to support American pool. And I wish some others would do it too.
Yeah.
But
we've kind of, it's kind of been a little negative this time. But OB is one of the bright spots. They're one of the companies among some others that are out there, and they don't give up. They keep trying. They keep firing. Yeah. So you really gotta respect that. And if you can, if they have something you're interested in, give it a look. Yeah,
obqs.com. And Shane Sinnett, I'm not really sure how to pronounce it. Been around for years. He's became on board as their national sales manager like 2-3 weeks ago. But he's been around the industry forever, so he's way up to speed on what he's got. So.
Think of Spanky wants to know, is Swanee being streamed? Did you ever?
We're probably going to make a deal and get it streamed. I've been talking to Daniel from Point of View, I think it's POV. There's a real good possibility we'll work out something. I mean, I think it should probably be streamed. A lot of people say, well, why doesn't TAR stream it? And it's just too cumbersome for TAR to do that, We have to just stream it out there and move everything. It's tough. I got distracted. I was watching you shake your head back and forth.
I think the idea of the Swanee's cool. I went there last year. I don't like crowds. I don't like that.
Oh, yeah, and you're like that.
I don't like that. So I'm sitting there and I'm going,
Well, it costs us. There's no income here. You have to use a local guy, which Daniel is and everything. And
No, I'm talking about just, for anybody who's not been there, it's unlike any pool tournament
in the world
I've ever been to. I mean, it's like asshole to elbow. I mean, just
192-man field played in 2 days on 9-foot tables.
Yeah, the thing I do like about it is just that Southern California's got one of the coolest pool scenes in the United States, and a lot of great people, some amazing history there, especially in that room.
Yep.
And so that's something that I really think is kind of cool. But at the same time, it's like I'll run it. I wouldn't mind going over to sweat it for a couple hours, but that's
Well, you're stuck there
like
16 hours a day.
The way you guys work.
Oh,
I mean, it's
it
insane.
takes a special temperament to run this tournament.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sitting there. You and Sonny ran it last year,
Yeah.
right? And
And I play in it, but I don't know why. But that's where I tune up for the bar table this year. Because I am going to play in most of the bar table events. It's a one of a kind tournament.
Yeah,
and it's just kept growing.
It's a
and
neat
growing.
tradition. I mean, it's really cool.
Well, this is the 16th year. The bar table's the 19th year. So we do in our national tournaments. This is the 36th year. Mm-hmm. The U.S. Open is only 1 year longer than the BCA National 8-Ball Championship. Yeah. 1 year. That's a lot, and there's quite a bit difference in size. I mean, I'm 7,000 players. He's 256.
Yeah.
So
but Barry was doing his the whole time.
Well, yeah, it wasn't me, but Barry himself. Yeah, I'm talking. Yeah, our organization was doing, or not mine, but the BCA. Now it's the BCA Pool League. So anyhow, Kevin Miller, you'll be getting a cue stick eventually, and it's well worth the wait. And like I say, go to obqs.com and see what they've got. Trying to think of anything else really going on. There's any little chit chat things going on, but the Derby City was successful. They've got another one coming up in Tunica in July, and it's a good thing. I have your same concerns of how many 9-day events can you do, because mine's 11 days.
I think that event will be a success, at least, especially in the beginning, because I really think that part of the country is a fantastic place to do something like that.
And it's working off the amateurs more than the quote pros.
Well, and that part of the country's. The South is where it's at for pool. South and the Midwest, as far as I'm concerned, there's a lot of players there, and especially for what Greg tries to do with the action side of it and things like that. That's where a great deal of the money is. A lot of the action.
Yeah. I should probably mention, there's always this discussion on 10-footers. The 10-footers are going to be in play in July, and on top of that, I don't know if I can do this or not. I have to try to work it out with my staff. He wants us to have a 10-footer out here in May. Beautiful. And hold a qualifier for the 10-footer tournament in Tunica. Good. I'm not sure where the hell we're going to put a 10-footer. My thoughts are, and I'll run it by you, this is the first time I've mentioned it to you, make our arena a touch bigger and roll the 9-foot TV table out at 10 o'clock when the matches are done, and roll the 10-foot in, and they can qualify at night. If you wanted to, that's up to you. Because we could do some streaming. No, you could just do some streaming. It might be. I know. See, because he doesn't want to work 24 hours a day. I don't understand it.
Well, see, the way I figure it, you're only working about 14 hours a day, as it is now, for about 11 days in a row. So
what are you going to do with those other 10 hours?
You got plenty of time to work. Yeah, let's just roll it in. We're going to go to dinner. We'll see ya.
But I'm not sure. But who knows? We're just yapping about it. So they're talking about maybe they'll have one of the 10-footers done, and then when it's all over and done with, the 10-footer will be ending out here in Vegas for our use in the TAR studio and etc. So, and that's with 4.5-inch pockets, which will probably look like 3-inch pockets when you. I played on some 10-footers, and used to play, and it's a little bit different game. Of course, you can ask Earl and Shane about that, I guess.
Yeah, no kidding. Somebody mentioned something without tar at the Derby City. Tell you what, I didn't really miss it personally.
Well, we got had by the Dippy show last year was just ugly.
Miss seeing friends and things like that. But I just, man, that takes a lot out of you. I mean, it pretty much shoots. When I used to go, I mean, it would pretty much shoot most of January, either getting ready, doing it, coming back, and now especially with the studio, it'll take me maybe a day and a half, 2 days to tear all this shit down the right way. Yeah, and then get it all ready to go to Reno, and then we get up to Reno, we'll do that thing, and then you come back, and it's going to be
do it all over again.
Another day or. Actually, usually takes longer to put together than it does to tear down. So, but it's one of those things to where you start looking at it, you're like, God, That's
Well, the unfortunate
not
thing.
this year.
The unfortunate thing.
And it looks like Inside Pool. I watched some of their stream. You know, I mean, they did a pretty good job, I think, for what they were trying to do.
It was a different concept.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's nice. It's always cool to be able to, you know, any time of the day or night, just jump on and see if anything's going on. So that's pretty cool. But it's the venue has a lot to do with it. You know, it's I don't know, just harder to do. But
Yeah.
I'm glad somebody did it.
Well, yeah, I think it's good that somebody did it.
I did see some of AccuStats coverage. I watched Efren and Shane play the one pocket game yesterday, and you know, their stuff looks amazing as always. And they had I was actually, and it takes a lot to get me to watch a pool match anymore. I mean, from beginning to end.
It's easier to watch that than it is to watch ESPN's crap, though, where they cut everything out.
But I mean, there's like not a lot of stuff that I would just sit down and watch from beginning to end and like really pay attention to. But it was Efren and Shane playing one pocket, and it was Billy and Mark Wilson in
Mark
the
Wilson
booth.
was there, and he's good.
Man, that was one of the coolest matches, you know, and that was really fun to sit down and watch that match.
Oh, good.
And that was.
See, and I was there, and I didn't go watch it, so I was. That's one of the things you can either watch the games or you can take care of business. You can't. It's hard to do both. You know.
Yeah.
I got to when Sean Wilkie was playing Shannon Dalton Banks. They had John Brumbeck in the booth, and that was great because he was giving instructions, of course. And Dalton lost it. Had Wilkie 2-0 and lost the match. He just ended up he missed 4 or 5 long rail banks and everything in a row, and Wilkie just caught on, grounded out and got there. So, but Brumbeck was a real treat to listen to.
Did they do a 10-ball ring game this year or just the bank?
The only one I know of is the Banks.
And Frost won that?
Yeah. There was a bank match. Scott Frost won a bank match. Not a game, a match. 12 minutes.
Wow. 12 minutes.
12 minutes.
3 games.
3 games.
That's cool. That's the way he plays, though. I mean, that's the way he plays. You don't. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see it.
I mean, most people. I've seen. Well, Hell's Bells. We had a 17-minute game here one time. You know, not Banks, but 10-ball. It's insane. The guy was playing very, very good. I don't think he got real super deep in anything. You know.
One pocket. Didn't he go?
He got kind of deep. I don't think he got that far.
Top 20, top 15.
Yeah, but that's not. I guess that is deep, really, when you think about it.
300-man field. 20 is deep to me.
Yeah.
I mean,
but I'm just trying to think of anything else. I mean, I think probably the biggest news is our upcoming events, the Mississippi event that Diamond's going to be putting together, and the Tunica, Mississippi, and we don't know who won the all-around at Derby yet because they're still playing the 9-ball. I mean, you got a good shot. It's either going to be John Moore or Shane. I don't think Efren can get there unless those 2 guys get knocked out and he gets real deep in the 9-ball. And that's what, 25,000 for. Well, it's 22,000.
I thought it was 20.
3 and 2.
Something like that. Because
I think it's $25,000 total.
Total.
Yeah.
23 and 2 sounds right.
But at the at the Swanee, we have Efren and Boosty for the first time ever. That's going to be kind of fun.
Well, yeah, and then Reno, you've got Shane, Boosty. And I tell you what, man, one of my favorite players to watch is Jesse Engel and Bo. Yeah. Bo plays a little slow for my taste. Nicest dude in the pool, though. I mean, you won't meet a nicer guy. But I really like watching Jesse play because I think he reminds me of Shane in some ways, you know. And he's got the right outlook, got a good attitude. He's
a nice, solid, quiet kid.
Yeah.
And the bar box, you can sign up on site. It'll cost you a little bit extra. Or
you can sign up CTS on demand, right?
Yeah, you can go, well, actually, on 2 ways. Go to playbca.com, and if you hit the events tab, and then it'll drop down all these events. If you just hit the bar box, you go down there, it'll tell you everybody that's already in the tournament, so you can see the field. It'll tell you their name. These are paid people. And you click on it, it'll be the 8-ball or the 9-ball or the 10-ball. And that's just so you can see what's going on, how many people and everything else. We usually have about a third of the field signs up on site, so it's going to be pretty good fields. If you want to sign up, you just go to CTS on demand, And if you go to any of the flyers, and they're interspersed here, there, and everywhere, it'll just say register here or something. And you can sign up and enter online.
And that's coming up here soon. That's 2 weeks away.
February 12th through 19th.
13th. Listed as
Excuse
the
me,
13th.
you're right. I always say 12th because we're moving in on the 12th. We're
Right.
setting up, and obviously. And believe it or not, you know, we're going to have a pretty good vendor turnout.
Michael Hong, Omega
Q's,
Omega Billiards, yeah, Q's.
Jacoby.
Oh, nice. Dave's coming.
Yeah, Jim Knott, who's out of San Diego, he helps Jacoby out, but he also does cases and printing. And
Salazar coming.
Salazar.
Cool. Joe's my man.
Yeah. See, now I'm going to feel slight if I don't tell her. If I try to remember who else is there. Q Connection, Jude from Shaftmaster, Hustlin. The guy's name, he's up there. He's out of California, too. I just talked to him this afternoon. I'm going to get shot for that one. That's at like 9. We actually have 10 or 11 going to be there.
Cool.
So, and we're supposed to, and AZ Billiards wants day-to-day coverage, so we have send them some pictures, and somebody can write something about how Griffin won the 9-ball. And got to live in la-la land once in a while. You know. I am going to try and play. I'm getting a little aggravated. I don't have time to play, and I'm going to try and play all the events there, even some of that 9-foot stuff. You know, and you know that's open for everything. We're going to have the first mini tournaments we'll have, because in the evenings we have mini tournaments. It's going to be 1 pocket, and we're going to play 1 pocket to 23 balls. Single elimination. Be like a $30, $40 entry fee, something like that. And then the next night, we'll see how that one goes. Next night, maybe we'll play a bank one or a straight pool or something, just to get everybody involved in the big table play.
Cool.
You know? And then they can all play in the World PPA, which is last weekend.
That's actually
handicapped.
Monday. We'll have the information on the stream out for that.
Yeah.
Probably going to do it's either be 4 days free, 3 days pay-per-view, I think is what we're looking at. Yeah. But we'll get all that together, and we're kind of talking to sponsors right now before we release everything. But if anybody out there is interested in sponsoring or getting on board with our coverage of the U.S. Open Bar Table Championships, we're going to be on air probably at least 8 hours a day for 7 days. So you're looking at 56 hours of coverage, 32 hours of it free, and we'll probably, you know, if something's going on a 9-footer, maybe we throw a camera on it and leave it run. But, you know, we've got pretty reasonable prices, and you're going to get a lot of eyeballs because it's a good tournament. And
well, now that we've got a good venue, we can grow.
we got a good venue.
This is an exciting time.
And it's going to be just like the U.S. Open 10-ball footage. We're going to have a camera operator. We're going to have the arena up there.
Yep, the arena will be there.
3 cameras, the whole 9 yards.
Yep.
So it's going to be good.
I'm excited. You know, and the hotel's excited because I was very conservative in our, quote, room block, and we've already exceeded it by 20%. We still have 2 weeks to go. So this could be some real good stuff, and it could be a great foundation to build a really big event on the West Coast.
There was a question here, BCAPL in Hawaii at all? At Hawaii?
There was one league over there that I know of. I can't remember. There was a couple. At one time, we've had a couple of them in and out, but you know, Hawaii doesn't have a lot of league play of anything.
What about, and then Mark Cantrell wanted to know, how was the Hall of Fame dinner?
Hall of Fame dinner was great. You know, because I mentioned earlier that Grady was there and was actually in extremely good shape for where everybody thought he was on a deathbed a couple weeks ago. Buddy got up and spoke, you know. Nick was there, and Johnny Archer and Phil Wyndham spoke on Nick's and Nick's brother was there too. I didn't even know he had a brother. But
Yeah.
it was a good time. They always are. You know, they're a good little thing. And Big Truck filmed it or taped it, or I'm not sure what the terminology is. And you know, it lasts about an hour, hour and a half.
I was there. I don't think it was 2 years ago when we gave John Mars a TAR award.
The TAR. That's right. 2 or 3. 2
years ago.
This is the 4th year at the new
ago.
location. So, yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun.
I think you know, Steve Booth has done a heck of a job.
He does. He does a great job, and it's a lot of work, man.
It is a lot of work,
And
and maybe the BCA Hall of Fame could kind of, you know, they were supposed to go a couple of years ago. I said, you guys need to go there. Right? Rob Johnson, Ivan Lee, And something came up, and they couldn't go.
Well,
And
I tell
said,
you what,
know, you guys-
but I went for the first time. I was able to see the BCA Hall of Fame induction at the U.S. Open this year, and it was pretty cool.
they do some nice things.
You know, I thought they
They have some great footage. And
yeah, I mean, it was. I was, you know, and I understand what they're working with budget-wise and things like that, and you know, a lot of people, you know, I think they did a very good job with it, and it's. I think that kind of thing's important. You know, I mean,
they are important.
Yeah.
And I will say that the BCA has done better in the Hall of Fame since they actually moved it to Barry's event, because that time frame. They used to have it at the trade show, and it just couldn't get the support.
No,
And,
I think that's a good place to do it. No, I'm curious what the new venue is
Well,
going
there's
to
a
be
lot
like
of questions.
for the
I
Open.
mean, Jerry Forsythe's wondering, Diamond's wondering, because evidently, for Barry, it's terrific, because it's 3 blocks from his room, not 15 miles.
3 blocks?
3 blocks from his room. That's great.
Where the hell is this place?
It's a new. I guess it's a new place. I don't know, but it's I don't know. It's a hotel, or something. They have, you know, I'm not really sure what it is, but it has 3. There's 3 separate rooms for the tables, and now they're all. How are we going to do the live scoring? How are we going to do this? How are we going to do that? I mean, don't ask me. I don't know where it is, but those are some legitimate questions. You know.
Wow. Yeah, I mean,
Things
because I'm
change.
trying to picture around that room. You know, 3 blocks isn't very far.
Well, you know, people can say 3 blocks. They go down to the strip and they say, "Oh, it's only 3 buildings down. You're walking for an hour."
Oh yeah,
You know.
different blocks.
So who knows?
Cleary wants to know: is that a new pinky ring?
No.
No. Okay.
That's about 20 years old, actually. Probably older than you, Clary. You know, the problem with some people, especially ones from New York, you know, they're just smart asses. Can't play pool. They want to be a pool player. All I can do is eat pizza and do one-arm push-ups.
Oh, for anybody out there, I want to give a shout out to Cleary's lovely and ever-suffering wife, Ruth, is a producer, and she actually just finished work on, or she's still working on the show, but the first episode just aired. It's a show called Fat Chef on Food Network TV,
Really?
and it's about chefs that I guess, you know, like seriously overweight, and they go in, the show helps them lose weight and follows the family and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, she's been working on the show for, oh God, a while now. And the first episode just aired. So if you get a chance, check it out on Food
Please.
Network.
You know, Cleary's done some great stuff for us, but I still want to see when Fat Tony wins the U.S. Open. I mean, when is that? Or did that already happen? Did I miss that episode? You know, I'm going to say one other thing too. I got an email from a guy named Dave Wynn. Don't know him from Adam. Just talking how great he loves our TAR podcast. He goes, send us something once in a while. You know, we'll recognize him.
What do you mean?
Well, he said, here, you can read it if you want. It just says you guys are doing a great job on podcasts. I listen
Send
to it
us
every week.
something.
I want people to say if they like the podcast to send us an email.
God, you're needy.
I know. I just I like feedback.
Needy.
No, I'm not. If I was needy, I'd be nicer.
Love me!
I just, you know, the guy wrote a very intelligent, of course, maybe that shows how most of our viewers, I don't know. That's a joke, folks.
God, you're right.
We have way too much fun. You know, most of the time when you're acting stupid, you're supposed to be in a closet, you know. But we really enjoy any input, topics, what we did right, what we did wrong. If you got something that's legitimate you want brought up, send us an email.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I've gotten some nice feedback from some people. Gail Glazebrook wrote me. It was a real nice synopsis, or not a synopsis, but kind of a. Not a review either, but just saying that she appreciated what we did and that some of the issues we brought up she thought were important, and that, you know, so it's cool out there to see people in the industry, out of the industry, you know, that think we're at least talking about something topical that has some relevance.
Well, it
so
does.
I appreciate
that. We're not going to be on the Channel 3 News, or you know, but because we're a niche market. But our philosophy is if you talk about it, maybe somebody comes up with a better solution, or it exposes problems or whatever. It makes things work. I must have run into 20 people at the Derby that just passing, just say, keep those podcasts up. Just this little zip-zats, and didn't really have any in-depth discussion.
Well,
It's
that's
kind of
good.
cool,
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's
And because this is not for money. We're trying to promote and make things happen in pool, whether that we're doing them or Joe Blow's doing them.
right.
Fix the game.
Well, I think everything from damn ping pong to tiddlywinks to whatever has got some sort of. I just think it's good to have something topical, and if nothing else, maybe you spur a little discussion, things like that. And hell, we don't have to be right. We just, as long as somebody,
That's right.
as long as somebody gives a shit enough to talk about the topic, if we can at least jumpstart a couple of people saying, those guys are full of shit, or maybe that guy's got a point. Either one's fine.
And they might improve on our ideas,
Right.
or tell us why we're wrong, it's just discussion. It's not like we're married to these ideas. I mean, some of them we feel
Some
pretty
of them,
passionately
yeah.
about, but it's important to have discussion, because this industry, we're not the strongest we've ever been, but we're not dead. We can
No.
make this thing go. It's just really, more than anything, people got to work together a little bit more. And I'm pretty vocal about some of the people I've had problems with. I'll still work with them, but maybe they need to contact me once in a while. I can't be the guy to go out and call everybody. But
Well, the thing of it is, I think what's coming, we've been lucky that we've had some relationships with, companies like OB and Royce and the whole crew down there, as well as Jerry and Mike with AZ Billiards.
Yep. We get along with Pat real good too.
Pat, AccuStats, all good people, and it's so. I mean, there's a lot of really good. You hear a lot of negative stuff about pool, and I say my fair share. But I always my thing is, you can bitch as long as you have a suggestion. If you don't have some suggestion or make an effort to make some sort of change, then it's just dead air. You're just wasting your time. But and a lot of the people, there's the people like we mentioned, like Mike and Jerry and Pat, and guys like Big Truck, and even Inside Pool, and certain things at some time or another, we've been crossways on certain things, but at the same time, guys are out there doing it, and as long as people are out there doing it in a fair and honest manner, then I think that's a good thing. At the same time, I think our industry needs to crack down a little more on people that don't operate on the up and up.
Totally agree.
And everybody makes mistakes, and
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and and I fuck up all the time, but I try to do my best to make it right, and there's a difference between, and to me that's the thing, is because you've got certain people out there. Pool's made up of small businesses, and one of the biggest things about small businesses is a lot of times you overreach and you try to do things.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I don't know. It's just there's some good people and some good energy out there, and I think there's things to be done, and I think people can work together.
Yeah.
It's just.
No, I agree.
But the bottom line is this: at least when it comes to pro pool, if you can't find a way to take in more money than you put out, it ain't ever gonna be nothing anyway.
Yeah, but I'm not holding my breath for the Angel.
No, that's what I mean. It doesn't.
The big, Coca-Cola writing us a check for $1 million.
Never happen. No, I mean it has to. What sport do they do that to? They don't give money to anything that isn't making money already.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's but that gets in awareness. If everybody could get pool and speak more favorably about it, I mean, you never know. Their uncle might be a hot shot in AT&T or something, and just say, well, hey, we got a couple extra bucks, we can do this or that with. It's a groundswell thing. You just never know where it's going to come from. Mm-hmm. But we got to keep plugging away, and I firmly believe that pool's going to be here forever. Mm-hmm. In some shape
of course.
or form.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing. The amateur game is strong.
Reasonably strong, yeah.
I mean, the amateur game, it is, in my mind, it is strong. You know, I go in every goddamn bar in the city and there's a pool table there. That means somebody's playing pool.
That's true.
Just because they're not on the internet or don't know who Shane is.
That's true, too. There's
mean,
40 million people that play pool in this country. It's like the second biggest. I think the only thing that has more participation is running.
Yeah.
Or maybe basketball because of all the sandlot games or whatever. But more than bowling and more than golf. And, you know, speaking of, you know, golf it's super struggling. There's courses all over this country going upside down.
Right.
So it's not just our industry. You know, the American lifestyle, if you haven't noticed, has changed a little bit in the last 4 years.
I think we're going to see more changes.
I think you're going to see it shaking out. I think there's some stabilization going on. I think the worst is over in that respect. We're not through this recession by any means. But suggestions are always welcome. And, you know, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. So take it from there.
AP Audio missed 9, and that I guess he knows. Yeah, it's gone. But he discussed your topic about doing a higher stakes ring game here in the studio.
That would be fun too.
It would be fun, and it would be something that maybe we could swing, you know, maybe before May, or, you know, if the players are all in town.
See, I got a great time. If we could put it together, I mean, who knows? But we're gonna have all those players. Half those players are gonna be in Reno. Got 9-foot tables. Throw a little one and see what happens. Not quite the same.
But see, yeah, but at the same time, you know.
I know the promotion. You have no promotion time.
Well, and here's the other thing. When we go to do a tournament, and I'll explain this to everybody out there and to him, because I do it like at least once a week. It's like, you know,
He's
like
right.
the U.S. Bar Table Championship. You know, we're going there, and our focus is to do that tournament. You know, the matches, do the best job possible. You know, multiple camera operators. You know, good scoring, graphics, overlays, all that kind of stuff. And you know, when you go do that and you do it for 8 hours a day, you know, that's what you're selling. You know, if we sell a pay-per-view for the tournament, that's what we're selling. So it's real hard to kind of sell that because we know that's going to happen. And then try to say, oh, yeah, by the way, as a bonus, you know, maybe, you know, if you buy it, we'll have a ring game.
I like to take care of everybody's little spontaneity ideas because the tables are there, the players are there, and there's a. So yeah, but I would love to see a good ring game because I don't like safe games. I like offense.
Yeah. And
when you take with a ring game, no jumpy cues. You can jump with a full length cue, but let's see you make some shots.
No, I think that's you know, to me that would be something I'd love to see a high end ring game. You know, and I think it would be.
Well, you said that when you had that that was a bar table ring game though. That was the best.
Do it on a bar table. That's fine.
That was the best thing you guys ever did.
Yeah,
you said.
And it was, you know,
$5,000
entry. Maybe add some money, you know, or just, you know, one thing or another. But I mean, I think there's something there, because the only thing for us the problem is every time you get more than 2 players involved, your level of difficulty just starts going through the roof.
Well, if you did something here, you got to get everybody to Vegas. You know. But thanks.
That's a great idea.
Reminding us on that because, you know, we were really upset. Actually, Justin was more upset than I was when all of a sudden we discovered that.
Yeah, I was pissed that we lost that.
It was a multiple. It's just, you know, hey, we don't know what we're doing. We're amateurs. This is amateur hour. You know.
So I think we're done. 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Here for an hour. I just want to welcome Greg, Cali Red. He's on the camera tonight. And
you're going to come out and get your picture? He's going to get a mug shot.
And he was helping us. But
it's a mug shot.
So I'd like to thank everybody for joining us, and we'll see. This will be up on YouTube tonight. And
next Thursdays, back to Thursdays, as long as we can. Now next Thursday, we could do it from Reno though. If we want to, you know. But normally it's a Thursday.
See what I mean?
Well, yeah, but you do it.
Yeah, we can do it from Reno.
But listen, all our fans, all 12 of our fans out there are used to Thursday. So, whatever. All right, whatever. Ignore me. I mean, he does. You might as well, too. I guess that's it, huh?
We'll see you.
All right. Go in there.
Later, guys.
Go in there and push the button off.
Yeah.
Kelly Red, Mr. Techno Operator.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for everybody, and we do appreciate any input
Yep.
we can get. For real.
Love.